10-minute Excel training, lesson 6. We finally made it to 1 hour. I should charge you guys now. Reminder, the class is recorded. So if you ever need an additional dinner guest during this lockdown period, I'll be there. I'll have a glass of the red, thanks. Please open the workbook I sent around this morning. Should look something like whatever is on this screen right now. We're going to be learning about miscellaneous functions, which doesn't really tell you anything. We're taking a break from 3 consecutive, fairly advanced classes to talk about nice and relatively easy stuff. But who knows? Maybe you didn't know it existed. We're just going to jump straight in. First up, we've got Format Painter, words. Format Painter, it's up here on the top left of the Home tab. You get there via Alt-HFP, which is written on your little workbook there. What Format Painter does is it lifts the format of a particular cell. So say, for example, this one that I'm on here right now, B9, it's in a date format, it's italicized, it's got a border, and it doesn't have a background. Yeah, so it lifts that format and it applies it to whatever cells you want. So say I've got a row here with a very distinct format. My first cell has a border, but nothing else pretty much. My second cell we've already talked about. My third cell is a number format with no decimal places and a comma for the thousands separator. And my last cell has a blue background and underlining the contents as well. And they all have a border. So for example, if I want to do Format Painter if I want to apply that to the rest of these cells here, you can see here we've got dates, but they're not really in date format. We've got numbers, but in an inconsistent format. And we've got the similar data here. If I want to do Format Painter, I would go Alt-HFP, HFP, and then I would go Control and Shift at the same time, and then down. And you'll see, okay, probably should have figured that part out before. But you can see that it applies that format to all these cells down. The one thing about Format Painter is you can actually click it as well. If you double click it, you can apply it to a bunch of different cells as well. So say, for example, I want to format paint this. If I double click Format Painter rather than just single click, I can apply it to multiple cells like this. Okay. That's Format Painter. Pretty useful if you've got like a table set up, your first row of data is like the perfect example of your data, then you can just apply that to the rest. Next, we've got Format Cell. Format Cell is very useful. It basically allows you to format the cell in many, many, many different ways. But one of the things that I like about Format Cell is a lot of you guys will know how to merge a cell. I actually hate merged cells because it makes it really annoying to do like selecting columns and stuff, or selecting rows where they're merged. If it's merged, it'll select the whole chunk. So what I like, say I want this table header to look like a merged cell. Oops. Look like that, but not have the annoying situation where if I go select column, it's going to select 4 rows instead of just 1. So I can go into Format Cell, so Alt-HOE. You'll see a bunch of tabs up here. The first tab allows you to change the format of the contents of your cell. The second one is the one that I want to show you guys. Horizontal text alignment, center across selection, and then press OK. This also allows you to like rotate your text direction, all that kind of cool jazz. It also allows you to amend your font. You can play with your borders here, your fill, and some protections as well. But for this situation, I want to go center across selection. And what that does is it makes it look like it's merged, but it's not actually, because I can go like this and I can still select the full column, which is much nicer.
Matty, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Say so we do that instead of merging the cell. Which cell does that does the data just remain in the original cell, or does it move
does.
to the leftmost?
It's a good question. So it only lives in cell A17 in this situation. So there's actually nothing in these 3 cells. It just looks like there is.
Yeah. If it was originally in D17 and you did the same thing, would it stay in D17?
Good question.
Or does it get moved to A17?
Let's figure it out. No, it doesn't like it.
Okay.
So I think it has to be an A17.
Okay, thanks.
Good question, though. All right. So yeah, play around with format cell. There's a lot of cool stuff in there as well. So format cell is up here in format cells there. In here, there's also conditional formatting. I think I'm going to give a separate class on conditional formatting. It's a bit too cumbersome to talk about now. Similarly, like custom cell formats, I can talk about that another time as well. If we go across on the tabs, we've got insert here. We've got charts, which I'll do a separate lesson on, but you can insert all your charting there. Next, I want to talk about page setup, so page layout up the top here. But really, the idea of this is like when you want to print an Excel file, normally it's really annoying. So what I like to do is change the view to basically align what you want to print. So you go Alt-WI, which brings it to this view here. And if I want to put this on page 1, then I go drag that down, the big blue line there. Yeah. And this becomes page 2 as well. If you want to use your mouse, it's called the page break preview, and it's down here next to the zoom slider. Normally we have normal view, but here is the page break preview, and this allows you to look at what pages you're actually about to print if you wanted to print things. Okay, next up we've got error checking. So if we go to, where is error checking? Formulas. Yeah, formulas, error checking. You'll notice here that I've got a circular reference, and it actually points it out like this. Circular references are when I've got a formula that relies on a formula that relies on this first formula, hence it's a circular reference. I've got a formula here that says A plus B, so this plus this should equal this, but then I've got a different formula in B that says C minus A. So it's looking up itself. But sometimes we won't notice these kinds of things. So we can go to error checking, which is Alt, what is it? MKC, MK, and then circular references in this case. Then we can see it'll take us straight to the cell that has a circular reference. And then we can fix it from there. Within this tab here, formulas, we can also go calculation options. So if we go into here, we've got 1 plus 1 equals 2. But if I'm going to go 1 plus 2 equals 3, oh, crap. All right, let me put this back to manual. So 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1 should equal 2, right? But it's going 1 plus 1 equals 3. This is because I've got calculation options set to manual. It's good to have it set to manual if you've got a really bulky spreadsheet that has like a lot of things in it, and it takes a very long time to calculate. So what you can do is you can turn off calculation first, apply all the changes you need, and then make it calculate. I don't know how often you guys are dealing with massive spreadsheets though, so who knows? Could be useful, might not be. Last thing I want to show you guys is text to columns. So what in this situation, in the first column here, I've got the words 1, 2, 3, all separated by a comma. I want to put those into 3 separate columns. Similarly with the rest of this stuff, I want to put everything into its own separate column. So what I'll do is I'll highlight it all, Control Shift down, and then go Alt-A-E, which is in the data tab there. E is text to columns. Now what we want to do is we want to delimit this. Delimit it using commas, not tabs. And then we can go next. That doesn't really matter at all. And then we press finish. And what that does is it splits your cell into various columns. You can also use whatever particular symbol you want, whether it's a space or a tab, or you can also just, there was an option there for fixed width, which means you can play with the widths. But that's it for now. I think that's 10 minutes. Cool. All right, so that is miscellaneous functions part 1. We'll talk about more miscellaneous functions that you might not know of next week. Do I have any questions? No. Alrighty. Cool.
Thank you.
If you have any questions or if you have any suggestions for a future 10-minute Excel training, just hit me up and let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you. Thanks, Matty.